guys, and welcome back to Miss Herb's art class. Today we are going to be going through how to create your first section of your Spark portfolio using your iPhone. So on my screen here, you see I have my iPhone. I'm going to go to the page that I created in the last class so I can continue working on it and build out my first section. So if I scroll into my iPhone, the first thing I want to do is go to the app that says Spark page. If you don't remember how to do that, just go to that Spark page, S-P-A-R-K. It looks like a little red diamond, and you click on that. And the first screen you're going to see when you do that is called My Pages. Now, you should only have one page you've made for me so far. So even though I have multiples, one for each class, you're just going to see one. You're going to click on that with your finger, and you're going to see that on your phone you have this beautiful page you've started from last class. It should have your name as the title, and underneath that it should say Media Art Portfolio. If you scroll down, you are going to see there's a picture of you that you put up there and an About Me section. So now that you have the start of your portfolio, it's time to start building your content. And in the first part of today's class, in the first video, we talked about how to organize your photos on your phone to make it easier for you to then use them for your website. We are going to be accessing those photos in just a minute, but before we do that, I wanted to show you the different assignments you have to choose from. You are going to be asked to choose your top 3 assignments. So if we go into Google Classroom, there is an assignment called Creating Content, and it's going to be in your stream of your Google Classroom, and there is a document, a Google Doc, that says Creating Section Content. And this basically has a little bit of a project description and tells you that you are going to be choosing your 3 strongest photography assignments. Now, the good thing about this is it gives a list of all the projects you have to choose from. And it reminds you can find these projects in Google Classroom if you don't remember them. You've submitted them to me already. We've done, I think, 8 projects. You're only choosing your top 3. So eventually your portfolio is going to look like this. It's going to have a header if you look on my screen, and your photos underneath it and a short description under those photos. And what's great about this is you don't necessarily have to write this description from scratch. Here in this Google Doc, I have these descriptions already for you, and you can copy and paste them onto your website. Now, we have 8 assignments that are all listed here, and you can go through them. Everything from rule of thirds all the way down to the depth of field we just finished. I am going to use the rule of thirds, which is how we frame a composition or layout using those grid lines. You may remember that from the very beginning of class. I'm going to use that one as my first project. I like the way it turned out, and I like that idea of cropping a picture so that the point of interest falls on that grid. So the cool thing about this is I can copy this text and use it later. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. I just wanted to show you what projects you can choose from. So I'm going to get out of this for a second and go back into my Spark page, which is here. And right now I'm going to create a new section. So if you scroll on your Spark page, you're going to see like a little dotted line. It's a gray dotted line. That means that's the next section. And you want to add your new content underneath that dotted line. So I'm going to go down to the little plus sign under the section. I'm going to click once on it so you can see. I'm going to click on that. And when I click on it with my finger, I'm going to see a menu of options. The first thing I want to do is create a header. So a kind of a header for that section. And I'm going to go to this text button. Now remember, this is how I type in a header. And I'm going to call this Rule of Thirds. And this is going to be my project header. I want to make sure there's a space there. And then I actually want to make this in header text. And if you don't remember how to do that, I can go in on that bottom menu above the keyboard. There's something that looks like a backward P. That will allow me to shift the text into be a header mode. And that's what I want for this. Now, I want it center aligned. So to do that, I'm going to go on that little menu at the bottom, and where it has that little, looks like left alignment, it's on the very right side of that menu. I'm going to click on it. And now I have, this is the very bottom, I have my center alignment there. So I have my header. Now I'm going to add my photos. And you're basically going to do this for any assignment. You're going to put a header, and then you're going to add photos. So underneath that header, I'm going to click on this little plus sign. And rather than add photo by photo, I'm going to group my photos by using what we call a photo grid. And this is nice. So when you go in to look at your assignment, you're not going to see 5 photos underneath each other. You're going to see them grouped together in a beautiful layout grid. So in this little menu here, I'm going to go to the one right here. It says Photo Grid. I'm going to click on it. It's on the bottom row on the left. And now I'm going to go into my phone, and we did this in video 1 today where we organized our photos. I'm going to look for my organization, and I called this album Rule of Thirds. You'll see there's 2 albums called Rule of Thirds. I'm going to go to my second one because that's the one I did for this class. I'm going to click on that. And it looks like I've got all my photos in here already. So that's nice. If you group your photos ahead of time, it makes this process a lot easier. So I want to add all of my photos. So I'm just going to click on each photo. And when I click on it, it's a little check mark. And then there's a little add button on the top. I'm going to click on that. And now on my page, I have this beautiful photo grid that showcases my photos. I can even move these photos around if I want. I can click on the grid by clicking anywhere on the grid. I can make one photo large. I can make that photo small. You'll see there's lots of options. This gives us I could click on the move and I could move these photos around. Let's say I want this one to be first. There's lots of ways we can do this. So I could even go in and replace a photo if I want to choose another photo to replace it with for this assignment. So there are lots of ways you can do this. But underneath my photos, I do want to add a project description. And that's why it's so nice to have the project descriptions in the assignment in the Google Doc, because then you can copy and paste that text directly in. So I'm going to go back to my handy Google Docs where my assignment is. And this again is in Google Classroom in the stream. And I'm going to go to my Rule of Thirds assignment. And the nice thing about iPhones is if you click on one part of the text, double click on it, it will allow you to select that text. Ooh. It's got to be a little gentle with it, and I'm not doing a great job here. And you remember, you can highlight that text by moving your cursor to where you want to begin and end. And now you have that text all highlighted. You can go to copy, and the text is going to be copied. You can go back into your Rule of Thirds, your section, and underneath these photos where it says add a caption, if you double click it, there's the option to paste. And I'm going to click on that option to paste there. And at the top it says Spark page was pasted from documents, but it's so nice and neat. And now I have my text directly underneath my photos. And that is where we're going to stop today. You're going to be doing this for 3 different assignments, but I wanted to show you how to do it with one. So once you have that done, the next step is to share with me what you've gotten done today. And this is to go to the top. Again, if you didn't see how I did that, it is the top button on the right side. It's got a little square and an arrow pointing upwards. That's my share button. So I'm going to click on that button. It says share your Spark page. Now I have already shared it once. So at the bottom there is a button that says update unlisted link. So I'm going to be updating this. And I'm going to click on that blue button at the bottom. And it's going to give me that updating notice. And it says success. Your Spark page is ready to share. You can see it here. It also says this link has been copied. So I'm going to go to done. And then I'm going to go back into Google Classroom for today's assignment. And I'm going to paste that updated link so that Miss Herbs can see my work. And that's where we're going to stop today. So your assignment today is just to get your first photo section in with the description and the photos you're going to use. And if you go online, you will see that this has updated both on your device and on the computer. All right, thanks guys. In our next class, we're going to be adding our next 2 sections, and then we're going to be sharing our final portfolios. And these are great because we can add to them as we update our content. We can add videos to them. You can add all sorts of content that we'll be using throughout this class. So thanks for listening, and be sure to reach out if you have any questions. Have a great day.